What is going
Wow.
on, Penny boys and gals? I love that new intro. That is epic. It is
That was
What Duck
good.
here, and I am live with Amma Jamma. How are you doing, Amy?
Hello, hello. How are you doing?
Good, good. So we will be talking, as you saw the intro, some breaking news. I know this is a little bit
Yes, yes.
older, but we're going to be, still important. We'll be talking about the whole Voyager Capital.
Hmm.
What was going on with that? I know Three Arrows Capital is one of the biggest crypto hedge funds. They borrowed a whole bunch of money from a whole bunch of different companies, invested in a whole bunch of different crypto assets or digital assets, and then Three Arrows Capital, or 3AC for short, obviously suffered because of that during the crypto
Yep.
crash, and they were highly exposed to Luna and Terra and all that. So they just recently defaulted on a loan worth more than $670 million, and Voyager Capital stated that 3AC failed to repay that loan. It's 350 million in USDC, 323 million worth of Bitcoin, and Voyager intends to pursue recovery. When it comes to 3AC, they currently have claims out for more than $650 million. However, in the meantime, they did say they have around $110 million in US dollars and own crypto assets. They also revealed they have more than $350 million of cash held in the For Benefit a Customer account and 1.3 billion of crypto assets on its platform. But they filed for bankruptcy protection. This is days after suspending all trading deposits and withdrawals on the platform. And so, Amy, what do you think? I know Vol and Celsius are other crypto firms that are, had this happen to them. You think this is going to be like the new trend? All these companies is overextended in these crypto loans, and we're going to be seeing, a little crash after crash, or do you think this is just like the one, maybe like the last one?
I think that's a great question. First of all, thank you for the introduction. It's fun to have some Jamma and Duck back together again. All my
Yeah.
hosting, I learned from you. I learned from the best,
Yes.
so it's fun to join forces again. As far as Voyager crypto in general, this and that, I have a couple main thoughts, and here they are. And I've referred to this. If you listen to Twitter Spaces, you've heard me say this. It's very comparable to what happened in housing in 2008. All right. It's the lenders that are hurting more so than the retail investors. Of course, we have the pullback of the crypto that hurts, but at the top of our crypto highs, and same thing in 2008, they were giving anyone a loan for a house. People that shouldn't have had it, this and that. And when crypto was on these incredible bull runs, a lot of the large crypto platforms, exchanges, this and that, would give crypto backed loans, but they gave way too many of them. If you get a loan when Bitcoin's at, say, even like 40 or 50K, and then we're floating at 18K, the person who took the loan out, sometimes it's makes more sense to just forfeit the loan than to pay it when the assets that you put in collateral for that loan only equal a third, a quarter of the loan. It's like, okay, this is my out, this and that. So it's very it's a house of cards. There's so many different factors. You've got like this Luna crash. Luna was like a blue chip crypto, and we've got this crash that happened there where we watched one of the four biggest stablecoins depeg and literally essentially fall to nothing. I mean, those are the type of things that even the pretty knowledgeable crypto investors, you could have a suspicion of this happening or that happening, but the series of events that have happened since then, um, were not predictable. I'm not worried. Voyager, people that were cash heavy, they're good. You were USDC, I'm sorry, FICA protected up to $250,000 if you were in just USD. You had cash on hand. Your crypto, that's where you weren't protected. That's unfortunate. But I mean, overall, I don't know where the bottom is. I'm a little worried about Coinbase, to be honest. Crypto.com already pulled back. You can only do 5 transactions a day, even less if you have less money in the account. The Obsidian card is the 5 transactions a day, so the biggest accounts. And these are companies, SoFi is being talked about being acquired. There's so many companies that I've seen on the bull runs overextend into stadiums, on jerseys, on this, on that, just spending a lot of money. And then, there it's all contingent on crypto being at a certain price. So it was a series of unfortunate events, in my opinion.
Yeah, like even the Super Bowl, the crypto bowl, that's a whole bunch of money
Yeah.
being spent by crypto, exchanges and all that. I know, on the NFT side, I don't know if you heard of Mike Majila, Logan Paul's best
Yeah.
friend. He just leveraged a Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT for like a loan for a house. Are there any assets, if you were, a huge lender, are there any assets you would be comfortable with, lending, like for a loan, what for collateral? Would it be like maybe like Bored Ape Yacht Club, maybe like Ethereum, Bitcoin, or are you just kind of like, I don't want to touch any of it at this point?
That's a good question. I think at this price, you're much safer in a loan base because you're basing on what the asset's worth currently. Just like a house, housing market's inflated. So the loan is based on this inflated market. And as it pulls back, it could hurt future sellers, future buyers. You can't get the equity you're looking for out of the house. It's kind of the same thing. Like when it's the low market, like right now, when we have a lot of these big NFTs and we have Ethereum pushing under $1,000, this and that. If you have a couple $1,000,000 in Ethereum, I'm much more better off giving you a loan backed against that Ethereum at 800 than 4,000. So this is the time it's actually safer, in my opinion. You're not going to get your loan for as much, but for the investor, this is the time it's safer.
Because it's safer to hold it long term in these levels than
Yep.
when it was at the all time highs, and that definitely makes sense. Now I know there are a lot of different crypto, I guess, platforms out there, like Maverick Finance and all these that are doing these crypto collateral, assets, lending, and I know that this crypto crash definitely put a damper on a lot of that. But you still see it being like a thing of the future, these crypto collateral assets, and maybe now would be the time to start doing that if you are long term bullish.
Yeah, I mean, this is the time where there's a double-edged sword. Some crypto sanctions are coming. Some laws are going to come. They're going to cap certain things. There's going to be caps all over the place to supposedly to protect us, the retail investor. But we all know most of the sanctions we're going to see and most of the laws we're going to see are going to protect the big money, not us. We know that's how the government works. But within that, because it's like they call crypto the Wild West in the last 10 years because literally the gains were insane. But it was unsustainable. It was not sustainable. I look back at Voyager, and I'll answer your question in a second, Kevin. But I look back at Voyager, and in hindsight's 2020, because I'm like, okay, about a month ago, Voyager started offering instead of $20 worth of Bitcoin to make an account, they offered $50 worth of VGX. So they were diluting their native token, the one where they're not out anything because it's their token they created, and they started diluting it just to keep people in the door. And just creating more, which makes it worth less, this and that. So that is a sign of financial trouble when you're diluting or you're purposely diluting your own crypto to get
Mm.
people in the door. And it was a red flag. Hindsight is 2020. And to answer your question, Kevin, yes, I feel like crypto is such a bad rap. It's not even worth the trouble. Yes and no. These are such good levels to buy some crypto, and I feel like not to give up on crypto if you aren't like someone who's very informed on crypto. I mean, for a novice investor who had $500 in Voyager, it's terrible. We had our crypto challenge. We were all in Voyager. My money's locked up too. But in general, crypto, this isn't the death of crypto. Crypto is absolutely not going anywhere. The meme coins and the so-called shit coins, those are the ones to stay out of. The new projects, this and that. Mm-mm. I mean, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, and ADA. I'm not going much further than that because even AVAX, I've been reading some news that it could have some trouble. There's terrible news on Solana in the market. Solana almost got liquidated 2 weeks ago too, and
Yeah, I
now there's
saw that.
more news yesterday. So Solana is like teetering right now. I mean, and
They had that
Solana's really
the big
go ahead.
lawsuit, right? This is like a
Yep.
lawsuit on that. It's crazy. Yeah, it's like and no one's safe at this point. Besides, like you were
Yep.
saying, like it used to be a whole list. I remember during the crypto weekend watch list a year ago. We were talking about all these stable coins that that might be here. But like now it's like that list is getting smaller and smaller. Like it's Bitcoin, Ethereum. It's like, oh, then what? Like if Solana's not safe. Luna wasn't safe.
Exactly. And those are Luna and Solana has peaked, I think, as high as number 3 on the cap list. And I mean, when you've got Solana and Luna, who are both clearly top 10 blue chip cryptos, you could say, in such an unstable state, it's literally like, and I mean, it can happen in the stock market too, but the likelihood of seeing a blue chip stock like Apple just fall to nothing within a weekend is just not likely. It's something that doesn't happen. And I think that's what, plus the fact of it's such a process to transfer crypto, to do this, to do that. And then, yeah, Kevin just put another question here. It's true. People are down 50, 60%. And it's the economy. That's in the stock market, though, too. I mean, we've got Twitter at $39. We have, these Apple 146. Apple didn't pull up back as much as a lot of them did. PayPal under $70. We have insane pullback all over the place. I think we're finding our footing, though. I
No,
think that over
that's
the
a good
next,
point though about the stock market, all because I know a lot of because I'm very heavy in the Web3 NFT
yeah.
space, and for a lot of these traders are relatively new to trading in general. They don't even know anything about the stock market. So for them, they see crypto crashing, NFTs crashing. It's like their first bear market. They see 60% down, and for them, it's like, oh my gosh, like this is ridiculous. But then you go and look at the stock market, you're like, oh, look at Netflix. Like a lot of these big stocks are down around that. It's just not just crypto. It's the economy in general. With everything going on with inflation and
It really is.
everything. Yeah.
It really is. And with crypto, it was new water. It was the road that hasn't been traveled yet. So these things start popping up as they're exposed. Because the stock market, yes, it's like the SPY and the 500 stocks in the SPY. Bitcoin is so intertwined as the leverage to every other crypto, or Ethereum is so intertwined as the leverage to every other crypto, that if something becomes unstable, thus that equal and opposite reaction happens. And you've got like your USDT that is stabilized by Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin gets rocked a little bit, that USDT will depeg. It's really crazy how it all is dependent on each other.
I want to get to that KuCoin question, but while we're still on this topic, Kevin was also talking about saying with stocks, also it's hard to be long term. I
Mm-hmm.
actually want to ask you this because I see a lot of once again all these new influencers, new traders out there, going on TikTok and going on YouTube and being like, oh, this is the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. You're gonna be a millionaire if you buy the dip. What's like so like for me personally, I'm like that's fine if you have like $1 million, you can just keep buying it. But like if you're putting in money that you can't afford to, have sit there for X amount of time, that's not the best strategy. For what that X, I guess, what can you see as like, worst case scenario, like a realistic worst case scenario? You keep buying the dip. How long do you think we can see until we hit these levels again if we continue the course we're at?
I personally think we are closer to a bottom than a lot of people believe. Lee and James in the Discord, a couple other analysts, they had said like I use the SPY as kind of the guide because it's the 500 biggest companies, but like a 360 as a bottom, and we came really close to that. We were in the 370s. I think we might even touch the 368 area if I'm not mistaken. So we're very, very close. And since then, we're tightening up. We're getting into a little bit of a wedge here. Yeah, we hit 362. So we hit that area that I looked at as a bottom. We haven't broke out a downtrend, obviously, since we were up at 460 back in the end of March. I think we're close to a bottom, though. I'm not loading the boat, and for a small account like where you have to really pick and choose where you invest, don't invest on the end of a stretch of green days like right now. We've had 4, 5, 6 green days in a row. Wait till that first green day after a pretty big sell-off, a pretty big 3, 4 days red, and start small. At least split it into like 3 or 4 buys, like a 25, 25, 50, 20, 20, 20, 40, something like that, at least, so you could bring down that average a little if you have to.
Yeah, I saw so many people during that a couple Wednesdays ago during the Fed meeting, that we had that big rise in the stock market, rise in crypto. There were so many of these new influencers out there being like, this is it. We hit the bottom. Like, we're here, look at that green candle. And it's like, zoom out a little bit. Like, the day, like, just because you got one green candle doesn't mean, like look at all that red. Like,
Exactly.
it's right. Like, it's not load the boat time, but it's definitely time to start looking and
Yep.
start educating and, figuring out what to do when, when that bottom does hit and that support, does happen. And we see that, continuation of upward, reversal and all that. Do
Absolutely.
you want to talk about KuCoin really quick?
Yeah. So KuCoin, is nothing substantial with KuCoin. There's nothing verified. KuCoin is starting to pop up on a lot of the Twitter feeds. You see those connecting the dots, that black market, this and that. behind the scenes stuff. How how people talk about like Celsius, like they did stuff that like turned off the rest of the market, and people are like, we're going to let you fall. You get a lot of that stuff in the background, this and that you read, and some people have said that KuCoin is in some trouble. I'm not that worried. Like for me personally, the three exchanges I do trust at this point are definitely Binance, FTX, and Kraken. Those three are big, substantial, still making moves, this and that. Coinbase is way too far over leveraged into ETH 2.0 staking. And the longer that gets put off, the longer Coinbase has way too much money tied into something that isn't doing anything for them. Voyager's already belly up. Crypto.com, I think will be okay. They're trying to be safe right now. And then the smaller exchanges like OKX and those type of leverage exchanges, I'm not worried about those at all because everybody's flying into them shorting stuff. When you want to go to the, so.
You mentioned the big word there, Ethereum 2.0. I know that we had the test net, and they're saying like
Yeah.
August, and now they're saying not August. I haven't really been paying. Do you know what the latest is with that? Are we looking at 2022 at the very
I'll
least?
tell you what, like every time it gets within like 2 months of supposed like launch date, it's pushed back another and again. And I think with just crypto where it's at right now, I don't think it's high priority for like to be honest. So
That's a
um
good point, actually. Why launch this whole new thing during a
yep,
bear market almost, you know? That's a
exactly.
good
Like
point.
that, like I think it will be a strategically planned when they go live as well. So
So
yeah.
Kevin's talking about a safe moon. So yeah, like you were saying before, with crypto, there's definitely a difference between, investing like Ethereum, investing in like a Bitcoin, and then something like a safe moon, or even like Dogecoin is on the spectrum of, of that. So
Yep.
like when it comes to those types of plays, like, like the high risk, high reward types like safe moon, what's your, what's your usual game plan as far as that goes?
Right now, currently, I like, they already kind of had some pushes, but things like sand, things that are involved in, the meta space is definitely where I feel like that never got a second push. And if you're looking to invest in something, you want to invest in something with some utility, some actual daily life, utility behind it. And I think a lot of anything is assimilated with like metaverse as far as like alternate altcoins and this and that. That's where I'd put my money and stay away from the rest. If it doesn't have any sort of utility or function, nope.
Yeah, with this market, you need to actually have something backing it now. I think the metaverse plays are
Exactly.
definitely looking for the, like you said, that next bounce, because the NFTs kind of took over the whole metaverse hype. But I think
Yep.
from what I've seen, at NFT NYC and just working with different, projects that are doing stuff in, Decentraland Sandbox Network, there's a lot of cool stuff I think it's going to take over the gaming industry, the music, like a bunch of shopping, a bunch of industries, over time.
100%. I agree
But
100% with that.
so before we do wrap it up, this is the weekly recap. What have you been trading this week, and what are you looking at for next week?
Well, we traded Tesla for like 800% on a day trade today. Yes, you heard that right. So we killed some Tesla and we killed some we had a couple of pretty good trades today. Nike, we've been pretty spot on. Like Mr. SLP has literally just crushed it with this trading. I think we lost Duck. I know he was losing his signal. So we're actually going to wrap it up, and link is in the description for the YouTube page. I mean, excuse me, for our Discord. Come check us out if you're not a member. Thanks, guys. We're gonna end this. I think Duck lost his computer. Thanks, guys. Bye bye.